Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers third-party video thanks to the team over at Robot Kingdom. In today's video we're taking a look at the final member of the Unique Toys Bruticus. This is their Stellar Warrior M-05 RAGEWINTERCHILL. Kinda sounds a little bit like an adult film star, but what do I know? Got him on the front there. Again, we've got Team Shot on the top. Side of the box in a very kind of dynamic pose, and on the back there we have him in his vehicle mode as well as his robot mode, and on the bottom of the box it tells us not to eat our toys. Bruticus on the side there as well as vehicle and arm mode. Without further ado, let's crack him open. And here we have Vortex out of his plastic prison. Now I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really enjoying him as much as I did with Blastoff. The guns don't really hold in his hands very well, and we've got these small kind of trigger laser things on his outer arms. They tend to just drop off as well. We've moved the rocket pod things on the side there. We've moved those from the back pack, and that just pegs on to the outer arm. That is completely optional. If you prefer to have that cleaner look, you don't have to move those at all. I will show it with those removed and placed on that back. The head sculpt, much like Blastoff, is very nice indeed. Love the choice of colors. Really bold blue, kind of mixes up those grays and blacks, and overall he does look really nice and very in keeping with the rest of the team, but I just wish they'd got those tolerances sorted, because those guns do not want to stay in his hands. And much like Blastoff, we have the hand, and again really impressed with that. Nice levels of articulation, very good solid hand. We get Bruticus's gun, Bruticus's gun, which is fairly hefty. We can switch that out like so, and I'm assuming that becomes another weapon. Peg over, that can come down like so. Again, that forms the Bruticus gun, but there's various different options on how to display these. Once again, we get one of these small red eyepieces. I'm not sure who these are meant to go in. We got one with Blastoff as well. If anybody knows where they come from, then please let me know. I'll cover those fully in the Bruticus review. And of course we get a card as well for RAGEWINTERCHILL. Nice. Now our lovely Vortex here can indeed shoot round corners. His guns bend each to their own, but they are so loose. They are very, very loose indeed. It's just the way that it sits over on that hand there doesn't really peg in as nicely as I would have liked, and this one especially, that's super loose. I have no idea why that's so loose. You can always put it in the top here of the gun, or we can put it in the side of the gun as well, like so. I think I actually prefer it to be in the side like so. Now these shoulder pods, as I mentioned, as standard, they come attached at the rear. You just have to unpeg these, out we come, and they go in this way, and that just tabs in like so on the back of that backpack. What do you prefer? Do you prefer that sleek, skinny arm, or do you prefer the kind of bulked out shoulder pod using these thrusters from the helicopter? It's not a bad thing having choices. Really nice head sculpt, great range on there as well. Love how that looks. Again, we do have light piping, although I can't seem to get any light in there at all. It's a funny old angle. He's a nice looking figure. There's something about him, I just don't like him as much as their Blastoff. Blastoff to me is definitely one of my favourites. That's a great look for Vortex, that just kind of looking down, that puffy chest. They've done a really nice job. Right, let's cover the articulation in full. Up, down, we can go left and right, no quizzical tilting because it's on a hinge. The arms can come all the way up and around. Nice clearance there for that wheel. Up to the side, we have a double hinge there that we can hinge it directly up, like so. Or we can go up on this outer hinge. We have an upper bicep rotation. We have a double jointed bend on the elbow. Not overly fussed by this blade section. It's not a real hindrance. The wrists can rotate, and we do have the hinged fingers with that additional split for the trigger finger, like so. Right, we have two forms of waist rotation. We have the upper waist rotation, which is quite a tight joint, and we still have enough clearance to move that around. It does clip that backpack a little bit, but to rectify that, we have the lower waist rotation, which can rotate quite nicely in there. Unfortunately, we do get that single piece hip skirts like we got with Blastoff, but as I mentioned with Blastoff, the legs do come quite far forward without the need to lift it up. If we do lift it up, then yes, we get the complete range. We can go back on this nice soft ratchet, out to side on a very stiff friction joint. We get a single jointed knee, but it's a nice deep bend. And coming down to the feet, they can move up and down, but we also get that really crazy pivot that we got with Blastoff. And like Blastoff, we can get Vortex all the way down in the splits with his feet remaining flat on the floor. Got great balance and nice tight joints, allowing for a nice one-legged running pose. I can see them making blades and first aid just by looking at their Vortex. He's got that kind of vibe about him. Bit of a roll call here. Here he is alongside the Unique Toys Swindle and Brawl, as well as the Zeta version. Big differences between Zeta and Unique Toys with their Vortex. I really like what Zeta have done. I'm really looking forward to their Bruticus. I've got a feeling it's going to be a big chunk of a bot and it's going to look the part. It really is. But I still think that Unique Toys definitely kind of nailed that G1 aesthetic. They've got that simplified look, much like we get with the newer MPs such as Inferno, and that's something I like. It's not to everybody's taste, but Zeta is definitely based on the more modern approach, whereas the Unique Toys seem to have drawn inspiration from those G1 character models. I mean, it looks like Vortex and his really beefed up gym going brother, doesn't it? These two look vastly different, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Something for everyone. Right, now let's get Vortex transformed up into his vehicle mode. First port of action, you want to remove the guns if you had them stored on the arms, and we want to remove these thrusters just from either side. They peg in so ridiculously tight. Come around to the arm, and as you can see, we have a hand. Right, now this piece here needs to pop out so the hand can pop in. Mine was incredibly stiff, so I just used these little guns that have no real purpose and pushed it through. So that means we can now bring the fist inwards and bring this out to the end, and then we can close that back off and then bring these arms up and around so that they're nice and clean on both sides. These tail fins flip upwards, and this whole piece here rotates around, so we're left with this piece facing the front. The backpack section disengages. This is very much like what they did with blast off. It wouldn't surprise me if it's just kind of a heavy retool. The head can go down and bend backwards again, exactly like we did with their blast off. These sections here can come out and out and out and out. This chest piece comes outwards. This is going to come up like so. That'll then close back off. These pieces at the side just swing and rotate down. These can come all the way up, and you want to make sure that you click this arm all the way up and over so that it fully locks into place. Shouldn't have the same problems that we had with blast off, hopefully. There we go. That's just going to sit there. These will all tab in nicely. Let's just hope they play nicely. There we go. They're in. Just move these just to the side so we can flip up this crotch piece, and then we can bring those back down. The feet come down into the center. The front of the leg opens. You want to flip this piece here around. The feet are going to come up. This is going to come down like so. The feet just need to chop and change around so that this toe comes up to the top like so. And from this position, you want to bring this all the way around. And as we bring that around, this is going to drop up like so. And there's now room for this to swing around. Then the foot will just slide into that void like so. And then this piece here will tab in on the top. Like so. Let's bring this piece back round. And then we can just bring this piece down. Cockpit comes down, and then we can bring this piece inwards and tab that in. And then these two lovely pieces just marry up. There's a huge tab at the bottom here that we need to do first. There we go. And that should allow the rest of these to peg in nicely. Like so. This piece will now come down, collapse into this void, snuggle that up. That's going to collapse in, that's going to collapse in as well. And this piece here is going to come all the way up and around like so. And then this is going to just latch up. And you just want to push and connect all of that in. That holds together really quite nicely. And this piece here is going to come down and slide into the back of that tail. And I love the way they've got these blades kind of folded upwards. Really is good for storage. Really cleans him up as well. That's a... You then want to add these pieces on, like so, like so, and we can put those small guns on the underside. They actually fit on there pretty nicely, actually. Don't seem to be going anywhere at all. And I believe we can bend these guns like so, and maybe bring that piece up like that, go this way. And I think, not sure, I think that we can use these on there. Oh, that's not terrible, is it? It's not terrible at all. That's kind of airwolfish. We have him in his helicopter mode. That is a really nice rotor blade. I'm not a fan of these big things hanging off there, but I guess that's kind of a G1 inspired look. And here we have him alongside the fellow helicopter army. I think they're all kind of based on the same model. Personally, I love this large cockpit section on this Vortex, Blackout, and the Zeta version, very much based on that same model. But it wasn't Vortex originally an old fighter plane, which then changed up into a helicopter for the modern day. But yes, that's how he looks. He is the smallest of all of the three, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. He's designed to be a small helicopter, and he definitely has that G1 nostalgia vibe about him. You can hold him in one hand, you can actually play around with it. You know, it's a fun little vehicle mode. Don't really like these Airwolf pieces here, but other than that, I mean, that's a pretty darn clean vehicle. Right, now to get him transformed up into his limb mode, this section here lifts up. Now once these pieces peg in, they really peg in, so you have to give them a real good push to get those up. Lift this front piece up as well. Come to the underside, we're going to split the tail fin section. Oh, again, everything tabs in remarkably tight on this figure. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's kind of annoying when you're trying to get it all transformed up. So let's bring that joint down. This comes up, this folds over. Pry this piece here apart. This piece comes down on either side. Bring the leg out. This is going to come up, and then we're going to rock this hinge, holding on, and that's going to come off all the way over and down. Bend these legs back in. They seem to have developed the Fans Toys squeak. This piece here rocks backwards and sits like so. This rocks backwards. These are going to nip, and you're going to hold on to this, and we're going to pull and extend that centerpiece. Bring this piece down like so. This can then tab back in, and the fist is basically going to slot in here and here. So if we put it in this one first and line that up, so we're using the longer pegs this time, whereas with Blast Off we use those short pegs. Make sure that this is all straight and make sure that's all lined up. There we go. Push all of that in. Reconnect the tail fin like so, and bring this piece back down. These will flip up and over, up and over. The head will slide down into this void, and there's these tabs on there. They'll tab in. This will all tab in as well, like so. And that, ladies and gents, is Bruticus's other arm. This needs to go down like so, yep. And then we've got that nice ratcheted joint on there. Lovely jubbly. You've got that twirly whirly piece there. Nothing is really hindered. This should all be tabbed in. No real hindrance there whatsoever. And it's a really nice, clean look for him. Let's just move these like so. There we go. And these here are designed to come off. Come on, off we go, off we go. Up one. So, bring in the shuttle front and we can attach these on like so. That's a bit of a tight fit, but it will tab in, and we're left with this. So there we have it. We have Vortex in his limb mode. Very much looking forward to getting this guy completely transformed up. I will of course try and compare him to Constructor from Toy World. I think this is going to be a very similar sort of size. I think it's definitely bigger than the Combiner Wars Devastator, but only just. I'm not sure how much is in it. This is going to be more on par with the oversized version of Generation Toys Devastator, but definitely liking what I'm seeing. Very fun figure, not as good in my opinion as their Blast Off, but not a terrible figure at all. I like how it looks. It's definitely a lot less kibble-tastic than the Zeta version, but that being said, Zeta definitely outweighs this in sheer size and volume. It's a beast. Thank you all for watching. I've included a link in the description below where this can be purchased. I've included a Unique Toys playlist at the end of this video, and once again, thank you all for watching. Until next time, for myself and Vortex, goodbye.